Okay, let us discuss the factors affecting the scheduled speed of a train. So the factors that affect the scheduled speed of a train are crest speed, duration of stops, distance between the stops, acceleration, braking, retardation. Okay, so let us discuss about this crest speed. Crest speed means it is the peak speed or maximum speed, I can say. Okay, so it is the maximum speed of the train which affects the scheduled speed. Okay, as for fixed acceleration and retardation and constant distance between the stops. Okay, so if the crest speed increases, the actual running time of the train will decrease. Okay, so already there will be a proper schedule from one station to another station for the for the speed at which the train has to run. Okay, so train should always run with the scheduled speed, and there will be a schedule for the stopping also. Okay, for what interval of time for so on at so and so station the train should stop. Okay, so everything is scheduled. Okay, so at what maximum speed from so and so stop to so and so stop the train should run is already scheduled. Okay, so the driver, whoever is the pilot of the train, he must know the scheduled speed at which he must run the train. Okay, so the crest speed is the maximum speed of the train which affects the scheduled speed. Okay, so if he goes beyond the speed of the scheduled speed, means if he runs the train beyond the scheduled speed. Okay, means if the speed is exceeding the scheduled speed, then the time taken for the train to reach the next stop will be reduced. Okay, okay, so in general we can say the running time of the train will decrease. Okay, so for the low crest speed of train, okay, the scheduled speed will has to be the scheduled speed will decrease. Okay, so if the train is running slowly than slower than the scheduled speed, the time taken to reach the next destination will increase. Okay, so we must remember that as the crest speed of the train varies, the scheduled speed will also vary. Okay, so the time taken to reach the station, next stop will increase if the crest speed is low for the train, and the time taken to reach the next stop will decrease if the crest speed is high. Okay, so the crest speed should be maintained according to the scheduled speed of the train. Okay, next is duration of stops. Okay, so if the duration of stops is more, then the running time of train will be less. Okay, and this leads to low scheduled speed. Okay, so the duration of stop, if it is more, then running time will be less for the train. Okay, so if we want higher scheduled speed, then its duration for stops must be low. So next is distance between the stops. So if the distance between the stops is more from one station to another station, if the distance from one station to another station is more, then the running time of the train will be less. Okay, hence the scheduled speed of the train will be more. Okay, so the running time of the train will be less if the distance is more. Okay, so what will happen because of that? Scheduled speed of the train will increase. Next is acceleration. So if the acceleration of the train increases, then the running time of the train will decrease. Okay. So if the acceleration of the train is increasing, then the running time of the train will decrease, provided that distance between the stops and the crest speed is maintained constant. Okay. If the distance between the stops and the crest speed is maintained constant, okay, as the acceleration of the train is increasing, the running time of the train will decrease. Okay, and the increase in the acceleration will always increase the scheduled speed. Next is braking retardation. So the braking retardation leads to reduction of the running time of the train. Okay, I hope you, if you have attended yesterday's class, you might be knowing what is meant by running time or running period. Okay, so if the braking retardation is high, that will lead to the reduction of the running time of the train. This will cause high schedule speed provided that the distance between the stops is small. Okay, so these are all the factors which will affect the scheduled speed of a train. So now let us discuss the simplified trapezoidal and quadrilateral speed time curves. Okay, so we have already seen the speed time curves. Okay, for different services, for mainline service, for urban service and suburban service. Okay, and we have already seen in those while discussing about those curves, you might have observed those shape of those curves. Okay, so once again I will show you. So this is the speed time curve of the mainline service. You just observe the shape of this curve. Okay, and this is the speed time curve of your suburban service. Okay, just observe the shape of this curve. Okay, and this is the speed time curve of your urban service. Okay, this is the shape of this curve. So we can simplify these curves into a trapezoidal or quadrilateral speed time curves. Okay, so whatever curves, speed time curves that we have discussed already for the mainline, suburban and urban services, okay, you can simplify them into trapezoidal or quadrilateral speed time curves. Okay, so this simplified speed time curves will give the relationship between the acceleration, retardation, average speed and distance between these stops. Okay, so when you simplify these speed time curves of this mainline or suburban or urban services, this simplified speed time curves will give the relationship between the acceleration, retardation and average speed and distance between the stops which are needed to estimate the performance of the service at different scheduled speeds. Okay, so a train must always follow this schedule. Okay, and it must run at scheduled speed. Okay, so the actual speed time curve of mainline, urban and suburban services are approximated into some form of simplified curves here. Okay, so we are going to simplify those curves in some form. Okay, so these some form of simplified curves are nothing but trapezoidal and quadrilateral shape. So we are going to simplify the curves that we have already discussed, speed time curves of the services, into trapezoidal speed time curve or quadrilateral speed time curve. Okay, so let us so we can say that this simplified speed time curves are of two types. Okay, either they are of a trapezoidal shape or of quadrilateral shape. Okay, so it's just an assumption. We are just simplifying to perform some calculations. That's all. Okay, so that's the only reason why we are simplifying, not to perform some calculations. So in order to do some calculations, we are simplifying these terms. That's all. Okay. So that's the only reason. So let us initially discuss the analysis of the trapezoidal speed time curve. So we have to do some calculations. So all of you be ready with your notes. Okay then. Now if you observe this shape of the speed time curve is similar to a trapezoidal. It is in trapezoidal shape, isn't it? So this speed time, trapezoidal speed time curve, it can be approximated from the actual speed time curve of different services. Okay, it can be a main service, mainline service, suburban or urban service. Okay, it can be. Okay, so for that, so just now we have seen, we even know that the running time of the mainline service will be more, and for the suburban service, coasting period will be more, and for the urban service, this braking period will be more. So all these services won't have same time period for means time interval for each period. Okay, for running period or coasting period or the retardation period or for acceleration period. Okay, so they don't have same time interval. Okay, so in order to perform some calculations, we will assume some conditions. Okay, so one of the condition to convert these speed time curves of these services into trapezoidal form, one of the assumption is the acceleration and retardation periods of the simplified curve is kept same. Okay, so if you see here, if OA is the acceleration period and BC is the retardation period, we will assume that the acceleration and the retardation periods of this curve is kept same. Okay, as to that of your actual curve. So in your actual curve, whatever was the shape of the acceleration period of the curve, speed time curve, as well as whatever was the shape of the retardation period. Retardation is nothing but braking period. Okay, braking period is known as retardation period. So we are not changing the shape of those curves. Okay, the running and the coastic periods of the actual speed time curve are replaced by a constant period. Okay, so let us assume the running and the coasting period lie in between this A and B. Okay, from okay, I have not for this interval T2. Okay, so lie in this interval T2 in between A and B. Okay, running and coasting period. So we are assuming that the running and the coastic periods are replaced by a constant period AB. Okay, so OA is the acceleration period, BC is the retardation period, AB is the running as well as coasting period, which is represented by a constant line here. Okay, so this speed time curve which is shown here is known as trapezoidal approximation speed time curve. Okay, or we can say as a simplified trapezoidal speed time curve. Okay, so let us do some calculations. So all of you start writing. So calculations for the trapezoidal speed time curve. So let us assume d is the distance between the stops in kilometers for the train. Okay, so for the train, let us assume, so whatever may be the service, mainline or suburban or urban service, whatever may be the service of the train, let us assume distance between the stops in kilometers is represented by, just denoted by d. Okay, and let us assume this capital T is the actual running time of the train in seconds. Okay, so actual running time of the train in seconds is capital T. Alpha is the acceleration in kilometer per hour per second, and beta is the retardation in kilometer per hour per second. Okay, and V suffix m or V subscript m is the maximum or the crest speed of the train in kilometer per hour. So maximum speed or the crest speed of the train in kilometer per hour is Vm, and Va is the average speed of the train in kilometer per hour. Okay, just write it down as soon as you complete in form. The people make it fast. I'm going to check your notes while taking attendance. Completed? Did you complete? Yes or no? If you have not completed, type and see. So if you observe here, in this simplified trapezoidal curve, if you observe here, so the total running time for this train is from this O to C or 0 to C. Okay, from this O to C is the total running time of the train. So we have assumed in the notations that capital T is the total running time of the train. So what is the total running time of the train? Acceleration time, running plus coasting time plus retardation time. Okay, total running time of the train is what? From one stop to another stop. This trapezoidal curve is plotted for one stop to another stop. So train will start from one stop. Okay, so gradually its speed will pick up and its speed will become constant, and as soon as it is about to approach to the another station, okay, supply is disconnected and brakes are applied, and what will happen? What will happen? The gradually the speed will go to 0. Okay, so the from one stop to another stop, there will be an acceleration period, running and coasting period, and braking period. So okay, so running period will be only for the mainline service. For urban and suburban, running period will not be there. Forget about it now. So we have already assumed that the running and coasting period are represented by a constant line. Okay, so the total running time of the train is T1 plus T2 plus T3. T1 is the acceleration, T2 is the running and coasting, and T3 is the braking period or retardation period. So capital T, the actual running time of the train from one equal to T1 plus T2 plus T3. Okay, so the actual running time of the train is T is equal to T1 plus T2 plus T3. Okay, now time of acceleration. Okay, so let us assume the maximum speed Vm is what is Vm? Vm is the maximum or the crest speed of the train. So so till the train reaches maximum speed, okay, that is Vm. Okay, the train is in acceleration period, means the train is running in acceleration period. Okay, so from 0 to a, or from this interval, T1 interval is the acceleration period. Some 0 to a means the speed is increasing from 0 to Vm. Okay, so alpha is nothing but the acceleration in kilometers per hour per second. So the time of the acceleration is what? T1, that is Vm minus 0 by alpha. So it is starting from 0 to, and it is starting from 0 and reaching the maximum value of the speed. Okay, so Vm. Okay, so Vm minus 0 by alpha. So Vm by alpha, consider it as equation number 1. This is the time of acceleration. Okay. Similarly, time of retardation is what? Time of retardation is this period, T3. T3 is the time of retardation period. Okay. So if you are not writing, I will not give you attendance today. So T3 is the retardation period. So that is from B to C, I can say. Okay, so the T3 is in between D to C. Okay, so what is the speed at B? It is Vm. Okay, and speed at C is 0. Okay, so here retardation is occurring. That is braking period. That is so retardation is nothing but beta. So time of retardation is what? T3 is equal to Vm minus 0 by beta. Okay, so you will get Vm by beta. Okay, so if you know T1, if you know T3, that is time of acceleration and time of retardation, you can determine time of running and coasting, that is time interval between A and B. T2 is nothing but what? T2 is nothing but T minus, okay, T minus T1 plus T3 or T minus T1 minus T3. Okay, so if you take minus common, you will get T minus of T1 plus T3. Okay, T minus of T1 plus T3. T1 is what? Vm by alpha. T3 is what? Vm by beta. So give some notations. Notations means give some numbering to these time in time of acceleration, time of retardation, and time of running and coasting. T2 is time of running and coasting. Complete it. As soon as you complete, inform. Don't take longer time. Did you complete? Okay, very good. Now, let us once again see the simplified trapezoidal speed time curve. Okay, so this is the area under this curve, speed time, trapezoidal speed time curve. This is the area. That area is what? 0, A, B, C, D, E, O or 0. Okay, O, A, B, C, D, E, O is the area of this trapezoidal curve. Okay, so trapezoidal speed time curve. So the area under this trapezoidal speed time curve will give the total distance between the two stops. Okay, okay. So the total distance, that is capital D, between the two stops. Okay, is the the distance can be determined by the, if you know the area, okay, of this trapezoidal speed time curve. Okay, so in order to calculate that, so the distance between the stops, capital D, is area under the triangle OAE, area under this triangle OAE plus area under this rectangle or square. Okay, better to say rectangle. In this rectangle, EABDE, and the area under this triangle DBC. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so distance between the stops is given by the area under the this is simplified trapezoidal curve. So in order to know the area of this trapezoidal curve, area of this triangle OAE plus area of the rectangle ABDE plus area of the triangle DBC. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, so these are the areas. If you know the areas of this OAE, ABDE and DBC, then you can determine the distance between the stops. Okay, so what is this area under this triangle OAE? It is the distance traveled during the acceleration. Area of this triangle ABD is what? Distance traveled during free running period and coasting period. And area of the triangle DBC is what? Distance traveled during retardation. Okay, so write it down. Make it fast. Don't copy it down as it is. You write in a short form. Don't copy it down as it is. Did you complete? Completed? Okay. Now, so in order to determine the distance between the stops, that is capital D, okay, we must know the distance traveled during acceleration, distance traveled during free running period, and distance traveled during retardation. Let us determine these three distances so that we can determine the total distance between the stops. Okay, so I have denoted, I have given some notation for the distance traveled. First, we will start with distance traveled during the acceleration. So I have given some notation. Based on my convenience, which I will be able to understand. That's all, nothing else. Okay, notations are means our wish. Okay, we can write anything. Okay, so D suffix something I have written here. So I'm assuming it as the distance traveled during acceleration. Okay, so distance traveled during acceleration is given by average speed during accelerating period into time of acceleration. So what is the average speed during accelerating period? Average speed is 0 plus Vm by 2. Okay, so average speed is 0 plus Vm by 2. Where is it? Yeah, 0 plus Vm by 2 into time of acceleration is what? Time of acceleration is T1. Time of acceleration is what? T1. Okay, so average speed during acceleration period is 0 to 0 plus Vm by 2 into T1 in kilometers per hour into second. Okay, so or kilometers per hour per second, of course. Okay, so you can remove this hour and with respect to second, if you simplify this if you want to measure the distance only in kilometers, then you just divide this T1 by 3600, which you people already know. So what is my distance traveled during the acceleration now? 0 plus Vm by 2 into T1. Distance traveled during the free running and crash. So simply I have written running period because I have assumed it as same. So that's why. So for simplification, I have given some notation d suffix some run. Is nothing but it is equal to what? Average speed during the running period into time for this running period. Okay. So average speed is the speed is constant. That is Vm. Okay, so Vm. So average speed is Vm and time for this free running period is what? This is my free running period. Okay, a running and coasting period actually. So the time is what? T2 and speed is constant. That is Vm. Throughout this period, the speed is constant. So average speed is Vm. So Vm into T2, kilometers per hour into second. So if I want to represent distance only in kilometers, divide this T2 by 3600. So Vm into T2 by 3600. Okay, so complete it. Inform me as quickly as possible. Did you complete? Okay then. Simply I am replacing these hours with respect to seconds. That's all. That's what I have done here. I am dividing t with respect to 3600 minutes. I am converting these hours to seconds. Similarly, we can determine the distance traveled during retardation period. That is d some notation I have given average speed into time of retardation. So average speed is what? Average speed is Vm plus 0. Okay, Vm plus 0 by 2. So, and the time interval is T3. So, Vm plus 0 by 2 into T3, kilometers per hour into second. Okay, you can convert these hours into seconds and you will get T3 by 3600. Okay, so Vm plus 0 by 2 into T3 by 3600. Actually, no need to write this plus 0 term here. Vm by 2 into T3 by 3600 you can write. Okay, now you have calculated the distance traveled during acceleration period. You have calculated the distance traveled during running period. Okay, and you have calculated distance traveled during retardation period. Now the total distance between the two stops is what? It is the distance traveled during acceleration plus distance traveled during running and coasting plus distance traveled during retardation. So you just add all these terms which are there in the above expressions. Okay, and consider it as equation number 4. Okay, simply I have added here. So write it down as quickly as possible and inform me. Okay, so I have got some expression 4 here. So in this expression, if you observe, D is equal to Vm by 2 into T1 by 3600 plus Vm into T2 by 3600 plus Vm by 2 into T3 by 3600. What are these T1, T2 and T3? Did we determine any expression for them? If you see here in this, T1 is Vm by alpha, T3 is Vm by beta, and T2 is T minus Vm by alpha plus Vm by beta. So these are equation number 1, 2, 3. Substitute this equation number 1, 2, 3 in your equation number 4. Okay, you just substitute it, you will get this expression. And later on, you just simplify it. Okay. So I have substituted in this the T1, T2, T3 in this expression, in this equation number 4. That is this equation. Okay, and later on I have simplified it. Okay, I have simplified simple mathematical calculation. That's all, nothing else. Multiplication, taking common terms, and if any term is cancelling, you just cancel it. That's all. Okay. So here Vm by 2 is there, into 1 by 3600 is there, I can, and Vm by alpha is there. So you can rewrite this whole expression as Vm square by 7200 alpha plus this is Vm into T minus Vm by alpha plus Vm by beta. Okay, so into 1 by 3600. So I have written Vm by 3600 into T minus Vm by alpha plus Vm by beta. Okay, plus here Vm square by 7200 into beta you can write. Okay, so simply multiplication I have done. I have got this next expression. Okay, and I have multiplied this Vm by 3600 with this terms with the T, Vm by alpha and Vm by beta. I have got this next expression. Okay, and after multiplication, so I have searched for the terms if there are any terms which I can cancel here. So if you observe, okay, so if any term is cancelling, you can cancel it. Okay, so okay, so at last after taking some terms common and cancelling the terms which I can cancel, what I have got here is D is equal to Vmt by 3600 minus Vm square by 7200 alpha minus Vm square by 7200 beta I have got. So from this expression, I have taken Vm square by 3600 common, so I have got 1 by 2 alpha plus 1 by 2 beta minus Vm by 3600 t plus d is equal to 0. I have sent all these terms to the other side. Okay. So I have sent all the terms to the one side, assuming equal to 0. So I have equated all these terms. I have sent all these terms to one side and I am equating it to 0. That's how I have got this expression. Okay. So it's a simple mathematical simplification you can do on your own. Of course, I have done it. You just copy it down quickly. You people can skip these steps. Why? Because you know all this. Okay, multiplication and all. You can skip and directly write. You can write this first expression and you can write these last two expressions. In between steps, no need to write. You do it. You just leave some space and you do that calculation later on, simplification later on. Okay. Write the first expression and last two expression. That is more than sufficient. Make it fast. No need to write all these expressions. Write the first one and last two. That's all. Very good. Now, if you see here, here in the denominator of this expression Vm square, denominator is 3600 for this term also Vm t by 3600 is, you just take this 3600 common here, denominator 1 by 3600, you just take it common and you just send it to the right side, it will become 0 of course. So when you take it common, you have to multiply this d with 3600. Okay, so your equation will be Vm square into 1 by 2 alpha plus 1 by 2 beta minus Vmt plus 3600 d equal to 0. Consider it as equation number 5. Okay, simply I have taken that denominator value common and I have sent it to the right side, which in the right side, what is there? 0 is there. So when you multiply anything with 0, it will become 0. That's all. Forget about it. Okay, now in order to make this expression more simple, I have assumed 1 by 2 alpha plus 1 by 2 beta equal to some variable x. Okay, so I have replaced this whole term with some x variable. So my equation number 5 will become Vm square x minus Vmt plus 3600 d equal to 0. So it is an quadratic equation. So you can determine the roots for this quadratic equation. So if I determine the roots for this quadratic equation, I will get Vm equal to t plus or minus root of t square minus 4 into x into 3600 d by 2x. Okay, so I can rearrange the terms or I can divide this numerator with the denominator. If I divide numerator with the denominator, I will get Vm equal to t by 2x plus or minus root of t square by 4x square minus 3600 d by x. Okay. So this is it. This is the expression that you have got. Now, here I have got, there is a, means I have got two terms here. One is with the plus symbol and one is with the negative symbol. That is two roots are there. One is positive, another one is negative. So one root is having a positive sign, another root is having a negative sign here, isn't it? So if I consider the positive sign, we will get high values for the crest speed. Okay, this is the crest speed, isn't it? Vm is nothing but the crest speed. Okay, the maximum speed at which the train will run. Okay, so Vm is the crest speed for the simplified trapezoidal speed time curve. Okay, from this speed time curve, we have determined the crest speed of the train. Okay, or the maximum speed of the train. So if I am considering this Vm with a positive sign here, then it is observed that we will get high values for the crest speed, which is practically not possible. So we must consider the negative sign. So Vm is equal to what? T by 2x minus root of t square by 4x square minus 3600 d by x. Okay. So my Vm is Vm is what? With negative sign, it is t by 2x minus root of t square by 4x square minus 3600 d by x. This is my Vm, that is crest speed. So for this, from this simplified trapezoidal curve, we have determined the crest speed of the train. Make it fast, write down quickly.